Chuck. Hey!
So we are talking about the movie Mayhem, directed by Joe Lynch, and this one stars Stephen Yeun, who you may know from The Walking Dead, and Samara Weaving, who you have seen recently in The Babysitter. Now, I would describe this movie as a cross between The Belko Experiment, The Raid, if they were directed by Edgar Wright. It's the best way I describe this. If you've ever seen the TV show Spaced, this so looks like the director Joe Lynch has just kind of wanted to get that feel of Spaced and make it kind of an action film. I guess we've had that with Hot Fuzz, I guess, but this definitely feels like it's heavily influenced by Edgar Wright. So Mayhem, the story here is quite interesting actually. It's quite an interesting premise. There is this kind of strange virus. Now, it's not a zombie flick. There's a strange virus that affects people, and it essentially turns people crazy and gets them to do all sorts of kind of like whatever their kind of impulses are, basically. It turns everyone's kind of like impulses up to the max. It's like everyone was like massively taking loads of cocaine, you know, drunk, everything, and dialed up to 11. It doesn't turn them into zombies, doesn't kill them, it just makes them go crazy for a while. And this virus gets out in this kind of this office block, which is this kind of like a law firm, I think it is, a consulting firm. And Stephen Yeun's character is kind of a kind of middle management type, and he's kind of sacked just before the kind of the virus breaks out, and it's just about to get big kicked out, and then the government kind of seals it up before this kind of antidote can come in. So they have to survive these 8 hours in this kind of building, and Stephen Yeun's character teams up with Samara Weaving to try and get to the top, to take out the kind of the top guys, because they can't be held accountable for their actions whilst this virus is, you know, in the air. So ultimately it's just kind of rise up through the tower, and various kind of like characters and mid-level bosses. The action here is very kinetic. It's very kind of stylistically directed. Like I said, if you've ever watched Space and you've seen some of the kind of the directing choices from Edgar Wright, and I guess, you know, you've seen things like Baby Driver and, you know, Shaun of the Dead, Ant-Man, not Ant-Man, whoops, that kind of stuff, obviously, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. You'll know the kind of the style here, the use of the camera positioning and things like that, and weird kind of like little quips here and there. Definitely feels like an Edgar Wright film to me, but it's not. So it's kind of fun, I've got to say. It's definitely a fast-paced movie. It's particularly violent. I feel the violence is sometimes a little bit overkill. What didn't I like about this film? I had a couple of problems with the plot, if I'm honest. We see people in the background go completely bananas and kind of have no control whatsoever. But whenever a character in our plot want to do something, they seem completely lucid. Maybe a little bit kind of like revved up, but perfectly capable of controlling themselves, whilst everyone around them who's not involved in the plot at that point seems to be completely off their tits and doing whatever they want. So it just seems a little bit, they're kind of changing the rules to this virus to suit the plot, which kind of bothered me a little bit, to be honest. It seemed like it was kind of so well set up to begin with, and then they don't kind of stick to their own rules. That kind of bothered me. As much as I like Stephen Yeun in The Walking Dead, I don't know if he is leading man material, if I'm honest. He's obviously going to be someone who is somewhat put upon, and I understand that. But I don't know, I don't feel like I was really invested in his character. Samara Weaving's character as well felt somewhat peripheral to me. I didn't really know why she was even there, apart from to have a kind of pretty kick-ass girlfriend of, you know, female lead, basically. And obviously our bad guys, quotes, are typical mustache twirling bad guys. But despite the fact that obviously I have some critiques with this movie, it makes it somewhat juvenile, but it's still a kind of a, you know, you'll feel guilty for liking it. You'll feel guilty for kind of liking its kind of over-the-top ultra-violence, but, you know, you can't help but have fun with it to a certain degree as well. So overall, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's okay. I think it's worth a watch. I don't think it's particularly memorable, in my personal opinion. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.